Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I am so excited to be here today. My name is Dana Thompson, and I am a mama and nutrition advocate and nature advocate, and get to work with this beautiful woman every day that I'm going to be interviewing today. I'm also really, really passionate about birth, about pregnant mamas, about postpartum care, and it really became a passion of mine after I gave birth myself. And it's really amazing to see what we can do nutritionally to support ourselves, both in birth, in pregnancy, and postpartum. So I have this amazing mama that I get to work with today here, Lisa Holtz, and she is a mama to two beautiful girls. And we've been working together for about 2 years now, a little over 2 years. And so I'm so excited to have you on here, Lisa, and to just share your experience with your pregnancies, with your postpartum experience, and just have a little chat about how we can really help and support others to really thrive during these really, really vital times in life.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really excited to talk about this because since I was introduced to this nutrition during my second pregnancy, it's just made a world of difference in my life in so many ways. So I'm excited to share that.
Yay!
Thanks for having me.
Yay! Well, Lisa and I both work with a superfoods company, and the name of the company is Purium. And the superfoods that we get to work with are absolutely amazing, organic, the best possible. Everything goes into them. But really, the most important thing that I want to talk about today is the feeling. And so I know, Lisa, you've had two pregnancies and two postpartum periods, and one of them was before you discovered Purium, and one of them was after you discovered Purium. So I'd love to hear, just to start us off, like a little bit about the difference between the two, like how you felt nutritionally, and how like that both that pregnancy period, like through birth, and how that carried you like through postpartum in both different instances.
Absolutely, yeah. So I had my first baby when I was 36, and she was breech. So I ended up having a cesarean delivery with her. And that was fairly traumatic for me physically. I was like major abdominal surgery, of course, but also mentally and emotionally. And to be totally honest, I don't feel like I ever really like course corrected from that experience. I had a lot of trouble, I guess, about a year after. It was kind of like late onset postpartum depression and anxiety for me with my first baby. And it wasn't anything too severe, but it was definitely had an impact on my life. And in my opinion, it had an impact on my physical health to the degree that we had a fairly challenging time conceiving our second baby. And when we finally did, the anxiety like totally spiked again. You know, we'd been trying and hoping for 2 years at this point, and had lost a pregnancy in between. And so my anxiety totally spiked when I got pregnant the second time again, and was just concerned, you know, like, is everything okay? And what's going to happen? I was kind of like anxious all the time, just wondering if I was going to learn something that, you know, was uncertain about the baby or the pregnancy or whatever. So that was really challenging. And then about maybe 4.5 months in, you introduced me to these superfoods, and I think it was like almost subconscious. My body was just like, I need something different in my life than what I'm getting right now. And there's no harm in trying this. Let's just see what happens. So I did. And I started with just what we call the core 4 products. And so I don't necessarily need to go into the details of that unless you want me to, but I will say that within 3 weeks it took about 3 weeks, and about 3 weeks into using them consistently, I was like, I'm sleeping better. And I really don't feel so anxious anymore. And I have energy again. And I had energy throughout the day. I was still, chasing around my 3-year-old. And yeah, it was just from that point on through the birth experience and into the postpartum period, I honestly, like through the second and third trimesters, just kept feeling healthier and stronger and more vital, more prepared and capable of like moving into the birth experience and postpartum period. And yeah, the postpartum period itself really just felt, there were still, of course, some hormonal and emotional experiences in the postpartum period, but overall, it was a much more like balanced journey. There would be like little ups and downs, but I would come back to feeling more like myself much quicker. And yeah, just it wasn't as severe of a like, kind of up and down like feeling and experience. So yeah, it was a really significant difference between the two pregnancies, and especially in the second pregnancy, even between like the beginning of the pregnancy through the end of the pregnancy and into postpartum time. So it was such a blessing.
Yeah. Do you attribute that difference to the nutrition that you were taking in with the Purium products?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it was kind of twofold, both the nutrition, like I think I was getting nutrients that I probably had been lacking for years. And the gut health piece, I think, had a huge impact on my emotional experience and my kind of like predisposition, or I have a like longer term history too with just super mild kind of depression and anxiety. I've never had a real struggle with it necessarily, but I've definitely had that tendency throughout my life. And so I noticed overall that the gut health piece really seemed to just balance it out. It really like took the edges off of it all. I feel so much more, I don't know how to describe it other than when I wake up in the morning and when I'm like feeding myself these nutrients consistently, I just feel so much more capable of handling whatever comes up. And with 2 little ones, it's like, there's a lot that comes up. It's totally full on all day, every day. So yeah, I absolutely think the nutrition has just made a huge difference and impact in my own ability to be a mom and be the mom that I would like to be and like show up for my kids in the way that I want to.
I love that.
Yeah.
We have to fill our own cups at least a little bit before we're able to fully support our families, our children. And when you're pregnant and going through postpartum and you have another one, there's so much to hold, and it's so important to take care of ourselves. So this is such an easy way to be able to integrate that kind of self-care into this thing that takes 12 seconds to shake up.
Yeah.
So I love that piece, and I love that you're bringing that in. And that brings me to the next thing I wanted to ask you, which is what is it that you have found to be the most helpful? Like, which products have you found to be really helpful in integrating in pregnancy, in postpartum, in being a mom? And really that healing process. Like there's the pregnancy piece of really gearing up and preparing the body. And it's really important to be nutritionally supported through that. And then there's the postpartum period healing. And obviously it's really important to be nutritionally supported through that as well. So I'd love to hear like what you've actually found to be really helpful and supportive during those periods.
Yeah. So I've tried quite a few things, but I'll try to narrow it down to the few that have had the most impact. And I would say, in general, like I was just talking about with the gut health piece, that the Biomedic has been incredible for just kind of making sure my digestive system is prepared to handle all the nutrients that I'm putting in my body and letting go of the stuff that I don't need. I actually feel like in many ways, the gentle kind of ongoing detox helped me move a lot of the residual stuff that was in my system from the surgical birth that I had with my first daughter. And of course, this is kind of, it's not something that I can prove necessarily, but I feel like it really helped shift some of that like chemical and hormonal experience that I had that was maybe stagnant or stuck in my system.
Mhm.
So there's that piece for sure, the biomedic and the gut health overall, the gentle ongoing detox, and then replenishing with pre and probiotics and supporting the digestive system to absorb nutrients better has been critical. And then the power shake, the green drink that's just like so nutrient dense, and what you were just saying about it just being so convenient, like it's not easy to carve out time for self-care with two little ones, even one little one. And so um, to be able to provide my body with that type of fuel and nutrients with just a few seconds of mixing it up with water has been revolutionary, really. And yeah, just like the energy that I get from it, and the real sense of being fully nourished. I found that some of my cravings, like salt and sugar cravings, just kind of went away after a while. And I really attribute that to the power shake and just like really giving my body the full profile of nutrients that it needs. In addition to that, probably the aminos have become one of my favorites, especially postpartum, because they are also just like such pure fuel and hit the tissues in your body and are ready to be utilized within, what is it, like 23 minutes. So I take them first thing when I wake up in the morning, and I often take them again in the afternoon, and find that I really just feel like they sustain me and they help my brain kind of sharpen. I feel like my brain works better when I have them. I kind of just like, and it's almost like instead of coffee, and I have been off coffee for a long time, so I can't say that that's a direct correlation, but I feel like the aminos just give me that like baseline, everything like gets me going. My muscles, my brain, all of it. So those three for sure. The apothecary too. That's going to be like everything. Everything's so good. The apothecary I really found supported deeper sleep. And by that, I mean, I wasn't necessarily getting more sleep, especially like postpartum. There's still a baby with me that was waking throughout the night and wanting to nurse and things like that. But I found that the sleep that I was getting was better quality. And so when I woke up in the morning, I was feeling fairly rested, even though I hadn't gotten as much sleep as I probably would have liked to. And I would say, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but my baby really didn't have too much disrupted sleep. Like we would nurse a little bit throughout the night, but overall, she didn't wake up and she wasn't like wide awake in the middle of the night ever. I think it really, whatever she was getting through my breast milk was really supportive of her sleep cycles also throughout the early postpartum journey. And then the last thing I'll mention, just for the sake of time, is superxanthin. I was taking superxanthin throughout the pregnancy, mostly for just to support like my tissues recovering. And I really feel like that was supportive in the like post-birth healing experience. I feel like I healed. I was able to have my second daughter. I had a VBAC with her, and I feel like, well, I had a pretty traumatic tear. And without going into all the details, I feel like my recovery from that injury and that trauma to my pelvic floor was much more quick and smooth. And even like my midwife was pretty impressed with how I healed from that and the time frame that I healed from that. And I really attribute that not only to the superxanthin, I think that was really supportive of that, but all of the nutrition that I was getting and my body's ability, just the support my body had to heal itself in that time. So I think
beautiful,
those
Lisa.
those were the primary ones.
Yeah, I heard you mention 5 things, and I'm just going to take, I just want to chat for a couple more minutes here, but I'll just take those last couple minutes to just kind of describe the products that Lisa talked about that were really supportive for her during pregnancy and postpartum. The first one she mentioned is Biomedic, and Biomedic is an absolutely amazing product. I really think everybody should be taking this, and it's so important for pregnancy and for postpartum. Because what it does is it actually goes in and removes glyphosate from our gut microbiome, which is the main active ingredient in Roundup. And if you're curious and want to know more about that, please reach out to the person who sent this video, and they'd be able to help you a little bit more, find out some more information on that, or you can just Google glyphosate as well. And then it replenishes, so it actually removes those toxins out of the body, and then it replenishes the gut microbiome with healthy prebiotics and probiotics. So it's a really revolutionary product that, like Lisa said, has absolutely changed my life and my gut health. And gut health is connected to every single action that we take every day. It's very connected to mental health and to overall well-being. So the gut health is just I can't stress enough how important it is to take care of our gut health. And then the next thing you mentioned was the Power Shake. And the Power Shake, just like Lisa said, is a very, very nutrient dense green shake. And this is the thing that actually caused me to be interested in Purium in the first place. I used to be the person that was out gathering dandelions and gathering my own greens and making my own green powders, and they never really worked that well. And this is just, as a mom, just such an amazing way we can get these nutrients into our bodies and really be cellularly nourished. And that's something, I've eaten organic off of my partner's farm for a very long time, eaten like the best food. And I also have just been so amazed with how this like really, really cellularly nourishes my body, and have had similar experiences with the cravings and things that you described, Lisa. And then the next thing you mentioned was super amino 23, and amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So it's actually what can be utilized by our bodies. And so when we eat protein, our body actually breaks those proteins down into amino acids. And that's what's actually able to be used by the body. And so by taking amino acids in their form like that, they can just be utilized, like you said, in 23 minutes in the body. And again, this is amazing for tissues, for our muscles, for overall energy, and really letting the digestive system like have a little bit of a break and still be able to get all of those essential amino acids into our diet. And then you said apothecary, and apothecary is just a tart cherry juice, and it has very, very high levels of antioxidants and is also the only naturally occurring source of melatonin. So sleep, also such an important part of overall health. And so this is just really helping to create everything that you need in that postpartum, that very special time and pregnancy, of really making sure that the free radicals in the body are being cleared out with those antioxidants, and that we're getting a really good night's sleep. And then I love that you brought in super xanthan too, because this is one that I haven't used very much, but just started using it. And I've already really been able to see the difference with the tissue repair. So I'm really glad you brought that one in, because that's a less commonly used one that I also really have started to enjoy. So
yeah, I've heard about that one primarily with athletes and performance products, and tissue repair after hard workouts or a lot of activity. And birth is a hard activity.
Yes.
It is work, and your body goes through a lot. So yeah, I was really, really grateful to have it, and I feel like it was incredibly supportive.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for taking the time today. Is there any last little tidbits you wanted to add in for any expecting mamas out there, or new mamas, or someone who's wanting to support an expecting or new mama?
Yeah, the one thing that I don't think I mentioned and deserves just a quick moment is mental clarity. A lot of people talk about mom brain, and I'm kind of an older mom. I was 36 when I had my first baby and 40 when I had my second. And they call that geriatric motherhood or something ridiculous like that. But yeah, I've heard so many people talk about mom brain, and I have especially with the second pregnancy, I have not had any experience with that. And in fact, I feel like my memory's been improving since I brought this nutrition into my life, and my just like ability to form thoughts and remember words is like totally coming back from a place from the place it was after my first daughter was born. So yeah, I think that deserves a quick mention. And otherwise, I would just say, like, I think all pregnant moms should have this in their system. I think all postpartum moms should have it in their cupboard. So when they wake up in the morning and their blood sugar needs some support right away, it's like right there, ready to grab. I've started using it in cooking and baking so that it's like I have things all the time that have these foods in them because they're just so incredibly nourishing. And yeah, I've started giving like something to all of my pregnant mama friends and postpartum mama friends, and just the support is so needed by mamas in this phase of their life. And I would even say there's, this is probably not the time to talk about it, but in my fertility journey, I really wish that I had had these products, because I think my journey conceiving my second baby would have been totally different than it was. So yeah, women in general and in the childbearing realm, which are just so need nutrients like this.
Awesome.
In my opinion.
Yeah. Very helpful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Lisa. I love getting to work with you, and I love your wisdom around this. You are like super mom, and it's so amazing to watch you and your little ones, and really been such an incredible thing to get to watch your journey with your pregnancy and your postpartum, and just how healthy and vibrant you are now. So it's been really beautiful for me to get to watch you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Well,
so I mean, just connecting with other mamas is so important. I love that piece of this community too.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Dana.
Bye.
Have a beautiful day.